Good Tuesday afternoon. This is Mike Bowen, USAT Triathlon Rules Ambassador for the Southeast region. But a lesson that I learned from my father, who was a law enforcement officer, is, how do you know that somebody is potentially violating a law? And, sometimes he and his law enforcement compadres and friends would say, it's just something that stands out and just doesn't look normal. So if I had to call this anything, I would call it, how can you tell? So let me talk about a couple of the things that we really take a look at and look for when we're at a race. Okay, so first off, let's talk about helmets. And helmets, this is not just a fairness thing as much as it is a safety thing. Okay, so the helmet rule basically says that the helmet has to be undamaged and unaltered, and it has to be Consumer Product Safety Commission compliant. Okay, so when we come into a transition area and start looking at helmets and bikes and stuff like that, sometimes it's the person who's the first-time triathlete or very new to the sport who has an older and more beat-up helmet. Older helmets are more likely to be damaged and ratty. And the more inexpensive helmet, the one that you would perhaps purchase, let's say, through a Kmart or a Walmart or a Target or whatever have you, is liable to be that an older helmet, that entry-level type. And while everything sold in the United States has to be CPSC compliant, older helmets may not, the CPSC sticker may fall out of it. So before you come to the race, make sure that there is a sticker in there. I've had people say, how do I get a CPSC sticker? And it's like, you don't go and acquire one. It has it when you buy it. Okay, so keep an eye out on that one. If you've got a beat up helmet, replace it, get a new one. There's good inexpensive helmets out there at your local bike shop. Okay, swimming. There are people who like to, especially in this area of the country, during the summertime when we have jellyfish going on, they want to wear rash guards and whatever have you during a swim. Rash guards are perfectly acceptable, but the thing that you can't have, you can have textile, you can have fabric, but you cannot have in conditions that are between 78 and 84 is the wetsuit optional, and above 84 is the wetsuit not permitted at all. So if there's a sponge-like feeling to a shirt or a piece of equipment a piece of swimwear that you're wearing during those, when the water temperature is at that level, you may want to make sure that it is a swim skin and made out of textile and not neoprene. And you end up being put into a participation wave and not being able to gain USAT ranking points. All right. There's a brand new set of pants by Roka, swim shorts by Roka, which are much like the lava pants, and they are neoprene, and they are also under that wetsuit rule. Okay, for the swim. All right. Bicycle. Easy day on a bicycle. It's easy for us to tell whether bar ends are plugged or a bike that stands out of the ordinary. Now, I have one of those beam bikes, those soft ride beam bikes, and those are legal for non-drafting triathlons in USA Triathlon. But there's the challenge is sometimes to be able to differentiate between what is known as a fixie, a single geared fixed gear bike that does not have a freewheel, and a single speed bike that has the freewheeling capability. This is going to be a bit of a confession. I had a gentleman who had a single speed bike with the capability to freewheel, and I thought it was a fixie and wrote a penalty on him, disqualifying him, and I had to overturn my disqualification because he showed me actually that the wheel was able to roll with the pedals, standing in a freewheel position. Hey, we make mistakes too. Sometimes we go by observations and we don't get the best look at your equipment. So that's all I got to say about that. All right. Out on the bike course, if we see a cluster of athletes in a group on the road up ahead of our motorcycle. If I see about 3 or 4 or 5 cyclists all in a group there, I'm going to tell my motorcycle pilot that we need to probably take a look at that group and see if people are actually engaging in legal passes, or if they're kind of sitting in there and drafting off of one another. So if we see cyclists in a line down the road, and they appear to be at gaps that align more or less to those dashes on the road, like I told you a couple of weeks ago, I probably won't pay too much attention to it. But if I see a cluster of bikes together, there's the potential for shenanigans. All right. Lastly, you get on the run course. I'm looking for a couple of things on the run course. One is does the participant have a race number on? 99 times out of 100, I'm looking to see if they have what is known as a run number belt, one of those elastic belts that they wear around their waist, because they'll have that run number attached to the belt. If I don't see a run number belt, then I'm starting to look at the front side of them and the back side of them to see if they have a race number pinned on them. If I don't see anything on them, then I'll wheel around and take a look at their shoulder to see what their number is, and write them the penalty. Also, I mean, there have been times I've pedaled by an athlete, and I've heard headphones being worn by the athlete, and they've had it all tucked up in a hat, and all they had was just the earbuds just barely sticking out there. But I could hear at the volume that they were blaring it at, that they were listening to music on the run course. They had a pair of earphones on. Having the earphones is a violation, even if we see them. So, and lastly but not least, let's say there's a person going alongside another, there's a person who maybe doesn't look like an athlete in a race, and they're going alongside somebody who definitely does look like an athlete. If something looks a little silly out there, I may take a closer look to see if that is a person who's pacing or providing some unauthorized assistance there. These are just some of the little things that we look at and are triggers to, hey, somebody might be violating the rules here. It's a little bit confusing. I hope you get a little something out of this, and I'll try to do better next time, as always. So if you have any questions or concerns, or you want to know more about a particular rule within the competition rules and what we think about it as officials, and how we enforce or try to mitigate those things, go ahead and send me an email at michael.s.bowen@gmail.com, or you can ping me at Facebook at www.facebook.com/USAT Rules Guy. Have yourself a fantastic day and the rest of your week.